Deep-sea fishing is a dangerous profession, but the dangers usually come from the elements or unpredictable sea creatures. But recently, fishermen have hauled in something far more sinister, something that defies explanation. Prepare to witness the shocking discovery that has sent shockwaves through the fishing community and raised alarm bells around the world. This is a story you won't want to miss.
The first was discovered by a Florida man, and no, not the one who went around eating faces back in 2012, but just a regular Florida guy who probably went fishing from time to time. Around September or October of 2012, the man, whose name is Gino Govecci, was walking along Pompano Beach when he stumbled across something sticking out of the sand. He picked it up and dusted it off, only to realize that in his hand he was holding a giant eyeball, and in really good condition too. Govecci, excited by his discovery, decided to get in touch with a group of Florida researchers to see if he might be able to learn more about the strange abandoned eyeball. However, was slightly disappointed after having done so, as it meant the specimen would have to be relocated to a lab across the state. While scientists were unable to determine exactly who the eye originally belonged to, they believe it to be some type of very large fish. However, Govecci believes its rightful owner to be a squid, but perhaps it's something else altogether. With no confirmation of the eye's true origin, there's really no way to know. Up next, we have a catch that is just about as extreme as it gets. In 2019, two recreational deep-sea fishermen in Charleston, South Carolina, whose names are not available to the public, made a catch that would set them up for life. Behind bars, that is, as what the men pulled up out of the water and onto their boat was a very large package, which they ripped open to reveal a massive amount of a very suspicious and very illicit white powdered substance, if you catch my drift. The two men immediately contacted the Coast Guard, who instructed officers of the North Charleston Police Department to meet the men out in the ocean until both the Coast Guard and the Substance Enforcement Administration were able to arrive. The package was taken into custody of the administration to be tested and its source investigated. Police later revealed that the weight of the catch was about 30 to 50 kilos with a street cost of up to $1.1 million. Up next, we have yet another Florida find. They really just don't have any dull days down there, do they? Anyways, the catch, executed by an unknown fisherman and captured on camera by Steve Bargeron, occurred in 2014 and was even featured on the Florida Fish and Wildlife's Facebook page. So what was the catch? An 18-inch shrimp, which now that I'm saying it out loud, I realize is a complete oxymoron. But anyways, the giant 1.5 foot long animal, according to Florida Fish and Wildlife after having examined the photos, was not just any regular old shrimp. Well, obviously, but rather it was the fast and incredibly strong mantis shrimp, best known for its ability to punch its front feet at a rate of 50 miles per hour, with reports of mantis shrimp knocking out other sea creatures and even breaking through aquarium glass. And considering the massive size of this particular one, I'd say the two men were very lucky that all they received from this animal was a cool story and a few viral photographs. Next, we have another ocean crustacean creature, and unlike the shrimp, which I actually thought was pretty cool, this one just totally creeps me out. This version of a giant isopod, which has been officially named, bear with me, Venomous Raksasa, nicknamed Darth Vader or sea cockroach, was first captured in a pair in 2018 by a group of research fishermen off the southwestern coast of West Java, Indonesia, during a deep-sea biodiversity expedition. The giant sea bugs, one male and one female, measured in at 14.3 and 11.7 inches, the male being the larger of the two. The large size, as well as their smooth exterior, was what led scientists to originally assume they had discovered a new species. The team also agreed that this discovery was a perfect example of just how little we know about what goes on in the deep sea. A giant-eyed, prehistoric-looking monster brings us to our halfway point today. This creepy creature was captured by Oscar Lundahl, age 19, in 2019, while on a blue halibut fishing expedition. The strange-looking fish, with comically large bulbous eyes and a thin tail, startled the fisher as it emerged from the water. In fact, Oscar claimed that he was so startled he almost jumped right out of his boat upon seeing the creature. The fish was captured by one of 4 hooks on the young man's line at a depth of about 2,600 feet or 800 meters. The fish, which took almost half an hour to pull up to the surface, was later identified to be a ratfish, a distant relative of sharks. However, it looked quite different from ones previously captured in photographs and video. A likely reason for this is the change in pressure levels from the depths of the ocean to its surface. You see, deep sea fish contain fluid sacs within their cells to maintain their form under the extreme deep sea pressure, so when the pressure begins to decrease, the volume of these sacs expand, generally resulting in bulging eyes as well as the death of the animal. A massive sea creature spanning the lengths of over 2 full-grown adults is next on the list, and it is the giant oarfish, also known as the doomsday fish, as it is said to appear as a messenger from the depths right before large tsunamis or earthquakes. The animal, which is said to have been the inspiration behind many sailors' tales of sea serpents, was discovered washed up on the shores of Catalina Island in Los Angeles by Ali McAlly in 2019. A strange occurrence, as the large creatures are commonly observed trolling along the deep sea floor, so seeing the creature washed up on the sand was baffling to say the least. While this particular oarfish is not the longest to have ever been observed, that one was actually 36 feet long, it is extremely large and quite rare, coming in at a length between 14 and 17 feet. Next, we have an animal that I personally definitely would not want to have caught up in my line. Caught in Port Isabel, Texas in 2020 by Alyssa Ramirez while fishing off of her pier. At first, the animal appeared to be nothing more than a pile of seaweed, but upon closer visual inspection, keyword being visual, Ramirez quickly realized that that was not the case. The animal was in fact later identified as a poisonous bearded fireworm, so it's a really good thing that Alyssa recognized the warning signs and did not try to touch the animal. Otherwise, she would have been stung with a powerful neurotoxin, leaving the area of contact feeling like it was on fire for hours. Up next, we have this weird thing. Captured in 2018 off of a fishing pier in Coney Island by Natalia Vorobach and documented on her TikTok. That thing almost doesn't even look real. What appears to be some kind of alien generated a lot of interest from the public, many excited at the possibility of being one of the first few people to view a documented new species. However, this excitement was dampened when scientists claimed the animal to be a clear-nosed skate, a species of, again bear with me, cartilaginous fish with a triangle-shaped flattened body and 2 dorsal fins on either side of the tail. So basically they described the complete opposite of what Vorobach caught. I don't know, you guys, are we thinking possibly an alien cover-up? Also, let me know the coolest thing that you've ever caught while out in the water. I think mine would probably be a pufferfish, but I want to hear yours too. Next, we have an unidentified furry-eyed fish caught during a February 2019 fishing expedition by a YouTuber who goes by the name of Thai Pig Patrol. The fisherman pulled the alien-looking creature lined with spines and spikes onto a small fishing boat whilst trolling the waters of a small murky river in Colombia. Thai had originally set out to find some catfish and was absolutely shocked at what he reeled in instead, describing it as the strangest fish he'd ever seen in his life, with his friends saying, "What the hell is that? This is the ugliest creature I've ever seen." Kind of harsh, but okay. Viewers of the video did identify the fish as an albino Acanthicus hystrix, a species of armored catfish generally found in rock or gravel bottom channels with moderate to strong currents. And finally, we have honestly probably the cutest creepy thing I've ever seen. I mean, it looks like it was made in a special effects lab, but its legitimacy was confirmed by National Geographic, NBC, and Forbes, along with a few other outlets. The discovery was made on October 10th of 2020 by a group of fishermen after a dead adult shark became caught up in one of their nets. Inside the stomach was 3 baby sharks, 2 of which were pretty standard, but the third was anything but. Similar to one found off of Mexico by a group of Indonesian fishermen in 2011, this was an albino cyclops shark. The shark was later turned over to local marine officials to be studied and is also one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
10 with a barracuda. Barracudas have been known to attack things larger than themselves. They reach lengths of 6 feet and weigh over 100 pounds. They also have very sharp dagger-like teeth, and they use these to pierce through their prey. They are known as a very dangerous fish who attack divers without any obvious reasons. So you can imagine that it would be extremely scary if something like this happens to you.
You see that big flash of silver?
Did you see that?
Yes, I did. That was like activity or something, man.
Oh, no.
Whoa! look out, it's a cuda. You okay, Bill? Bill, let's get away from him, man.
What do you guys do in this situation? I wouldn't want to have a battle with a barracuda on my boat. I feel like the fish had the upper hand even though he was out of the water. I think it must be his teeth. I'd be way too scared to go near this thing, let alone trying to purposely catch one of these monsters, but apparently a lot of these fishermen try to catch barracudas because their meat is really good. But I'll never know because I am not gonna catch one. Next up on our list, number 9 is this fishing accident. Well, his first mistake was going fishing on a little tiny kayak. What was he thinking? I mean, he was just setting himself up for failure right at the start. But going fishing in a little kayak, you basically are saying that you don't expect to catch anything big or worthy. But anyways, this man was fishing when all of a sudden he caught a really big animal that actually dragged him into the water. Once he was in the water, he immediately began swimming to his friend's large boat, and in the video you can hear his friend saying that it was a shark. Alright, so his second mistake was fishing in a shark-infested water with a tiny little kayak. What if you just flipped over? That is live bait for the sharks. The only two things that he did right was wear his life jacket and swim like hell to his friend's bigger boat. Otherwise, he could have given that shark a nice tasty snack, if you know what I mean. Fisherman charged by a sea lion breaks into number 8. I mean, is this real life right now? You don't hear about this every day, but you know what? Take a look at this clip. This is one angry sea lion. The sea lion was probably pissed off because the fisherman was stealing all of his food, or he was being tricked by the lure, and he thought it was a fish. Either way, the sea lion wasn't having it. He was just letting the fisherman know that this is his turf and the fisherman is encroaching on it. I just love the part when the fisherman fails so hard at running away. It's like he forgot how to run or just laid down in the sand, accepting his fate. But the sea lion spared him his life that day. Male sea lions can be extremely territorial, and they have actually been known to attack humans. Well, obviously, we just saw that video. Number 7 takes us over to the deep sea fishing disaster. Deep sea fishing can be extremely dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. When you're deep sea fishing, you have the potential to catch some pretty disturbing, scary, and horrific animals. So let's take a look at what this unfortunate fisherman caught. What you're looking at right now came straight from the depths of hell. Okay, not really, but the thing is still pretty terrifying. A fisherman in Florida accidentally caught a very rare goblin shark while he was deep sea fishing. He was about 10 miles off the coast of Key West, Florida, when he managed to reel in this gross looking fish into his boat. Can we all just take a moment and just look at this guy's teeth? I mean, they look like a prehistoric animal that should have went extinct millions of years ago. Their jaws can expand forward to pick up prey, and their razor-sharp teeth can easily tear their flesh apart. They are also known as the vampire shark because they don't like the light, so that's why they live in the depths of the ocean. Greedy shark swims into number 6. Fishermen are used to sharks coming in at the last minute and taking a bite of their catch, but they are fishing in the open ocean. But for those amateur fishermen, they got the shock of their lifetime when this happened to them.
Oh, he's got no line. That wheel line.
Yeah, like I said, you wouldn't expect a shark to steal your dinner when you're fishing on the dock near a pier, so I think these people got a serious dose of reality when the shark came in and scared them to death. I don't think I would be swimming anywhere near this dock from now on. Actually, after watching this video, I don't really feel like swimming in any oceans, rivers, or anything that's shark infested for a very long time. Or ever. The extremely violent fish splashes onto this list at number 5. The fisherman got a lot more than he bargained for when his big catch of the day actually got revenge on him. Take a look for yourselves. Okay, see, I wasn't kidding. This group of fishermen caught a huge Arapaima fish, and they tried to drag the fish onto shore in order to kill it. Well, the fish had no intention of dying that day. This is a warrior fish. The fish was desperately trying to escape by flapping around, and he ended up slapping one of the men square in the face, which caused him, a knockout punch. You can see the man unconscious, covered in blood, and you can also hear one of the other men dying of laughter. I don't know if I would go save my friend. A fish just slapped you in the face. I would be ROFLing on the floor. I guess you know who your real friends are. Your real friends would be the ones actually laughing on the floor. If they're a fake friend, they would have come at your help. Okay, crazy fishing accident sinks into number 4. A lot of fishermen have been injured while fishing. There are a lot of safety hazards that fishermen need to be aware of on a daily basis because it is considered to be a very dangerous job or recreational activity. Well, here's a video clip of a man who is recreationally fishing off of his boat. Everything seems to be going smoothly so far, right? Well, it looks like he caught a marlin and he is trying to reel him in, and then this happens. This marlin was like, nope, not today. He decided to fight back with this giant spear on top of his head, and it sounds like he managed to stab one of his fishermen on the boat. After he pierced the fisherman with his razor sharp spear, he managed to make a safe return back into the ocean. Well, I think it's safe to say that these fishermen have learned their lesson, and I think they'll be retiring their fishing rods. A hungry hippo darts into number 3, and I'm not kidding. When I was younger, I always thought the hippos were pretty cute and of course pretty chill. But then I grew up and I came to the harsh reality that hippos are actually very violent creatures who are extremely territorial. A couple of fishermen found this out when they were out of the water trying to catch some fish for dinner. They had no idea that a hippo would actually do this. Watch.
Whoa, close, dude. There's another one though. Where's the other one? We're being chased by a hippo. Oh my god.
Okay, what the heck just happened? Is this real life right now? Did you guys see the size of the wake that this ginormous hippo created? Hippos can swim at a speed of 8 kilometers per hour or 5 miles per hour in the water, which is almost the speed of Michael Phelps. Which means if you see one coming, you have no chance of surviving. So now you know that hippos are pretty quick in the water. And oh yeah, their bite force is 1821 psi. And in case you're wondering, yes, that is very, very strong. Hippos are also known to knock over small boats and attack the people on board. So I probably wouldn't be messing around with a hippo if I was them. I would max out my boat's motor and head for dry land. A kayaker catches an alligator in at number 2. What are they thinking? And yeah, you've heard that right. If I was in a little kayak and I accidentally caught a huge alligator, I would probably myself or have a heart attack. Either way, I would be dead. In the video, we have an innocent kayaker who discovered an old pool noodle that was floating in a murky swamp. When he went in to pull it out of the water, he got a lot more than he bargained for. Watch.
I think we got a garfish, dude. Be careful, Evan. Oh my god! That's a big ass gator, buddy!
Okay, let's watch that again, but in slow-mo, because why not? Okay, so I'm pretty sure his young son is in the back of his kayak too. He wasn't even trying to go fishing, but he ended up catching the biggest animal of his life. And I just love how quickly he tried to paddle away in his tiny little kayak. If the alligator was hungry enough, he could have easily tipped it over and had a quick bite to eat. Finally, number 1, I don't know about you guys, but if I ever saw an anaconda slithering in the water where I was fishing, I would just get rid of the rod and just call it a day. But for some reason, the fisherman decided it would be a good idea to harass a large anaconda who can easily strangle him and eat him. So here's a clip of what you should never do while fishing. Is this guy where the anacondas swallow their prey whole, starting with the head, or that they can kill their prey by constricting them until their bones crush and they die from internal bleeding? I'm thinking this guy didn't know any of this. He skipped school. He's extremely lucky because the anaconda probably just had a big meal, so he doesn't want to feed again for, several months.
Coming in at number 10, the stoplight loosejaw. Found scattered in the depths of just about every ocean around the world, these slimy black creatures with beating red eyes should have
truly never been brought into the light of day. On top of its tiny insect-like frame, the Stoplight loosejaw also has long, creepy, needle-like teeth, but its real claim to fame is its huge jaw that can measure up to a quarter of the creature's length. Strangely, there is no actual floor to the jaw, but this is to reduce water resistance so that it can snap shut quickly, capturing its prey in milliseconds. Due to this terrifying swiftness, they are also sometimes called rat trap fish. Oh, and remember those pointy needle teeth? Well, because there is no flesh to enclose their wide hinging jaw, the teeth serve almost as spears to pierce through their prey before swallowing them whole. I'm just crossing my fingers that I don't get reborn as a bottom feeder in my next life, because I never want to come into contact with these fish for as long as I live. Next up at number 9, the black scabbardfish. A deep sea predator, this creature had fishermen confused when they first found it, as no one could agree what the heck it was. With a strangely elongated body and large fang teeth protruding from its snout, it looks like some hybrid of the alien from the Alien movies and an ancient eel. Generally they are found just west of the British Isles and known to eat many different kinds of fish, crustaceans, and cephalopods, though their favorite is apparently the blue whiting. Now, if you ever find yourself visiting France or Spain, watch out, because these eel monsters are considered a delicacy and quite often consumed. But due to their diet, you run the risk of parasitic infection if not cooked properly. So just think twice before you take your chances, or you might be looking like some strange alien creature if you aren't careful. Coming in at number 8, the rat tail. Also sometimes referred to as grenadiers, these Arctic deep sea creatures are unlike any other. For starters, they've got giant eyes and big swollen lips that hang from their underside, rivaling even the best lip filler you can get on land. Their head is the largest part of the fish, and the body slims gradually as it goes down the tail, giving them kind of a giant creepy tadpole vibe, measuring about a meter in size. Rat tails also have a light delivering organ called photophores found near the rear end, but scientists have no real clue what its exact purpose is, but it's thought that they use the light to search for food in the deep dark ocean. Despite their creepy exterior, they have been known to be found in seafood markets or even restaurants, but as for me, I think I will be steering clear from eating anything described as a rat or a tail. Next up at number 7, the chimera. With distant relations to sharks, these fish are often referred to as ghost sharks, rabbitfish, ratfish, or even spookfish. The strange alien-like species looks kind of like spooky underwater robots, as they have these unique lines all over their body that, to me at least, kind of look like pieces of welded metal. Found in almost all the world's oceans, excluding the Arctic, the chimera are completely scaleless, similarly to sharks, and on their dorsal fin have a highly venomous spine for protection. And if a scaleless, venomous deep sea creature wasn't enough for you, to top it off, male chimeras are known to have a retractable, intimate appendage located on their forehead. Now, if that doesn't scream science fiction, then I don't know what will. In the past, these cartilage creatures were hunted for their liver oil, as it was commonly used as a lubricant for guns, but thankfully this is no longer a common practice. So let's just all agree to leave these creepy robot ghost sharks in the deep sea, and we'll all be better off. Next up, in our number 6 spot, the wolfish. This deep sea creature gets its name due to its resemblance to the canine wolf species, as it has huge sharp teeth, a strong jaw, and overall predator-like appearance. But it is sometimes referred to as the devilfish for its terrifying face. Now, unlike the wolffish is actually a lone hunter, and in the cold waters of the Arctic has evolved to produce antifreeze proteins which circulate in the blood to keep its body functioning in the unruly temperatures. But despite this incredible evolution, the wolffish does not actually have a swim bladder, meaning it has to keep swimming at all times, or the sheer weight of itself would cause it to sink. Unfortunately, the wolffish is at a high risk of extinction due to overfishing, so considering that, I think it's best we leave this scary creature in the depths of the sea where it belongs. Coming in at number 5, an unknown cartilage fish. They're as creepy There is horrifying, and then there is just straight up strange. Found by a Russian fisherman, Roman Fedorstov, we have truly no clue what it is or anything about it. All we can tell is that it's entirely made of cartilage, and due to that it's almost completely translucent. The fish has small spiny teeth, small eyes, and a gooey jelly-like inside that if you look at it for too long you kinda just start to feel a little woozy. The unnamed creature is truly an oddity of the sea, and I could have gone the rest of my life without knowing of this alien specimen, but since I had to see it, now so do you. After its capture, the fisherman took to his Instagram to share his gruesome find with the world, and whatever it is, it's not something I ever want to come face to face with in the water. Next up at number 4, the frilled shark. Though it is referred to as a shark by name, it is really more of an ancient prehistoric serpent that should have never been found. It gets its name from the fringy gills along its body, and it has been recorded to measure as much as 7 feet in length. But the worst part is the 300 tiny razor sharp teeth that line its wide hinging jaw. I mean, just imagine that bite. Ugh. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, it's covered in tiny chiseled scales that can cut you if you aren't too careful. The mysterious animal is known to lurk at the bottom of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, although it will rise up higher at night to feed before returning once again to its deep dark habitat during the day. But don't worry, they don't swim up high enough to affect your midnight swim. Coming up next in our number 3 spot, the goblin shark. You may have heard of this rare species of deep sea shark, but if you haven't, you are in for a ride. Often referred to as living fossils due to their 125 million year existence, the goblin shark is truly a terrifying sight. And if the thought of a dinosaur shark didn't scare you, to make matters worse, these creatures can grow to be as much as 20 feet in length and weigh 450 pounds. Famously known to have slimy pink skin and a huge protruding snout, it gets its name for looking so much like, well, like a goblin, but contrasted by its huge snout or its teeny tiny little needle teeth. But don't let them fool you, as it can completely unhinge its jaw while feeding. Despite its notoriety, researchers know very little about this rare specimen, as it is presumed to be just naturally uncommon. But truth be told, I am glad there aren't thousands of these lurking in the waters, or I may never want to set foot in the ocean again. Coming in our number 2 spot, Squid sulcus. First discovered in 2007 by a German research vessel in the southern Atlantic Ocean, this tiny 1-inch creature freaked out everyone at first. Armed with 8 legs and 2 huge tentacles. Well, I mean, proportionally speaking, it is only about an inch big after all. The part that shocked the world was what looked eerily similar to a set of human teeth. It's like something straight out of a science fiction movie. I mean, you can't tell me that it's not creepy to see what looks like a set of dentures on a miniature squid. But truth be told, despite how it looks, it's not actually teeth at all that we're seeing, but small, round, folded lips that we can only see a small part of. Like other squids, it has a sharp beak inside that it uses to catch and eat prey, and to date, it is the only one of its kind discovered, so let's just hope it stays that way. And last up, in our number 1 spot, the sarcastic fringe head. Although its name sounds like some kind of bad 90s grunge band, the sarcastic fringe head is actually a highly aggressive creature that resembles what can only be described as a real-life demogorgon. Found off the west coast of North America, they are extremely territorial and are able to fully fan out their jaws, exposing a row of razor-sharp teeth to scare off and intimidate others of its kind in hopes to get the best piece of turf. The bigger the better when it comes to the mouth of the sarcastic fringe head, but if the sheer size of their mouth doesn't work, they will actually slam their faces together and essentially mouth wrestle to get the job done. However, in a complete 180, it is actually the males that are the care providers, as once a female lays her eggs, she will leave immediately and the male will guard them until they are hatched. Whether their extreme aggression is about getting the best home or protecting their eggs, I never want to come near one of these terrifying creatures for as long as I live.
Kicking off our list at number 10, a 16-foot sea monster. Okay, Okay, here we go. I saw this one on TikTok. A lot of users were calling to build the ark after this one was caught, and quite frankly, I agree. I'm never swimming again. Right off the coast of Chile, this creature, 16 feet long, might I remind you, it was found, and apparently it's a bad omen. To even see this colossal oarfish in the wild means a tsunami or an earthquake is on its way. Good. We love good omens in this house. This ugly lad got over 10 million views on TikTok. He lives in Arica, Chile. Let's see if we can get him verified by the new year. I kind of love him. I love how in the photo too, everybody is in shock. That's real fear in everyone's face right there. They're like, where did this come from? Sorry, what? They all see a Zelda boss just hanging in front of them. Nice. There's one guy in the photo who's like, he has his camera out and he's not even pointing at the fish. He's just like, just completely baffled. Number 9, a long-nosed chimera. I have a long nose. Nothing like this guy, but that's all right. I don't know. A Canadian lad caught this next one. His name is Scott Turner, and he's from Nova Scotia. Back in 2016, he was deep water fishing, and he had no idea what the hell he caught. And to be fair, I still have no idea, and I wrote this thing, and I'm looking at it. A fishing trawler off the coast of Newfoundland hauled this up. California Academy of Sciences says chimeras are a group of scary fish that branched off from even scarier sharks nearly 400 million years ago. So they're massive for a reason. They have, they have large cousins. It runs in the genes, I guess. Their genes run in the family. They're all jacked and scary, I guess. Crew members aboard the Canadian trawler in their late 50s and early 60s, they've done this their whole lives, okay? They've fished their entire lives, and they've only seen this maybe once in their entire career. Yeah, some deep sea horrors for you on this fine August evening. Hit that thumbs up. We're well on our way. Let's keep it going. Number 8, not a fish. Okay, sometimes you catch something that's not meant to be caught on water or on land. You don't want to catch this one. A hand explosive was reeled in. Yeah, the guy caught a military, one of those. He reeled one of those in. One of those things you use in James Bond where we always, miss. And we're like, didn't hit them all. The guy reeled in a military explosive, but he kept calm. He called the police. They came in and they were also baffled. They're like, how did you catch this? Did it pull? Did it put up a fight? What's going on? How did this hand-sized weapon make it into this little Colomay river? Or when? Zero idea. This is a common discovery in rivers. A lot of people do what's called magnetic fishing. They try and find old-timey weapons. So some European countries actually ban the sport because they don't want anybody pulling an Indiana River. Imagine reeling in something bigger from World War II, like a bigger, you get it, horrible. Number 7, cyclops shark. Oh, I love this guy, he's so cute. Back in 1933, Dr. Thomas Hall Shasted explained in an article that the future of humans will be cyclops, okay? They only need one eye. The human eye originally evolved to see far into the distance, but as the modern human reads, writes, repairs watches, cuts gems, swipes on Tinder, everything close up, we might just need one eye. See you later, IMAX 3D. Sorry, James Cameron, guess I'll miss that one. Well, this next catch is perfect for that future. The shark with one eye. Is he real? Is he? Help. The cyclops shark. We saw him in 2015. You might remember him. The shark was removed from a pregnant dusky shark caught by commercial fishermen in the Gulf of California. Shark researchers have examined the preserved creature and found that its single eye is made of functional optical tissue. So it's normal, I guess, in a way, but it wouldn't have survived the conditions of the real world. Less than 50 of these abnormalities have been recorded in history ever. So there you go. 49 left to see with your one eye. Number 6, ancient antlers. Again, it's odd to find something that's not a fish, like say a World War II weapon, or say some antlers. Yeah, at first you'd think you caught a fish, but in reality it could be the antlers of a 10,000-year-old giant elk. Either one, who knows? May the odds be ever in your favor. The shape, the weight, the resistance of the water, I would fully believe that I caught a massive fish. It's like moving around with the current. I'm like, oh, what is this? No, he didn't catch any fish this time, just ancient history. Turns out when you're fishing in a local lake in Ireland, anything's possible. Just don't pull out Nessie, please. We don't want to pull out Nessie. Number 5, black marlin. Okay, for a halfway point, I need to show you the best thing that I've ever seen online. Everybody is okay in this video, first of all. Just gonna start off by saying that, okay? Great. Back in 2012, a black marlin off Cairns, Australia, jumped and landed aboard the Little Audrey. It's great. I mean, I feel bad for the fish, of course, but it's a great clip. Check it out. Sometimes you don't have to fish. Sometimes a fish will just appear. A nice 600-pound fish will sometimes jump in your boat. How scary must that be? So the fish jumps in and then throws a seat at another fisherman before going back into the water. How amazing is this? Check the guy out on the far right. He gets his head bonked by a chair because a fish hucked a chair at him. Honey, what happened to your head? Oh, a black marlin hucked a chair at me. Yeah, it was fun. He's like, yeah, I was f***ing with it though. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of deserved it. I deserved the chair. I'm okay. Number 4, Chuck Lagoon. This lagoon was Japan's main base during the war, but come 1944, the United States launched an attack, which some still deem as Japan's Pearl Harbor. So now there's 60 ships that have sunken down, and there's around 250 planes all lying in the water. It's a graveyard. So for 70 years, there's been this massive graveyard just sitting in the Pacific, and it wasn't until recently we finally got a good look at at these haunting artifacts. Thanks to deep sea divers and fishers. Yeah, thanks for hanging out in scary waters. I appreciate you. I don't like to swim in lakes, so you're so brave. Terrifying. These photos are terrifying. These fishermen have described the atmosphere, filled with, gas mask, bullet, and of course bones, as extremely haunting. Nobody was expecting these artifacts to be that well preserved either after all this time. But photos now serve as a haunting reminder of naval warfare. Number 3, deep sea anglerfish. Living at depths of over 6,000 feet, the deep sea anglerfish hunts in complete darkness. We should have never seen these fish, but unfortunately, now thanks to me, you have to. It was first discovered back in 1833 when a Greenland fisherman saw the horror up close after it washed up along the shore. They then took it to Denmark, where it was first referred to as the football fish or the man gobbler. Both great names. One's a little f***ed up, the other is kind of cool, but both great names. Female anglerfish have a glowing lure on top of their head. It's awesome and it's scary. And it's something I'm glad hides at the bottom of our ocean, if I'm being honest. This light here is created due to bioluminescent bacteria. Thousands of fish have it, and the deep sea anglerfish uses it in front of its face to hunt. Yeah, it draws in fish right in front of its massive, scary mouth. That's its main method of hunting. It has to be dazzling because, well, look at it. It's certainly not fast, definitely lacks speed and agility. Plus, living in complete darkness, they have to move slowly and rely on their senses to hunt. And as for prey, well, she'll take what she can get, no matter how big. I hope we never catch another one of these. Please stay deep and stay mysterious. Stay down, I'm good. Number 2, an eyeball. Back in 2012, this ball of yuck was found by a Florida fisherman. The classic insane Florida headline, here we go. Right on cue. The eye was the size of a softball, and for a while, beachgoers were speculating what monster it could belong to. The state's Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission determined that the eye belonged to a swordfish. And given the straight cuts on the eye, it's clear that an angler cut it out and then threw it like a shot put back in the water. How horrible is that? Awful for the fish, but also, if you found this, that would be so jarring. I'm just reeling in and being like, oh, what's that? An eye. I'm out. I'm out. And finally, number 1, Velella jellyfish. It's not uncommon to find a jellyfish or two while fishing, certainly not. But what about while you're fishing from the beach? That's a little bit odd. Especially when they arrive in, I don't know, the hundreds. These specific jellyfish called Velella are so light that the wind will push them all to shore eventually. How sad is that? Yeah, they didn't make the UFC weigh-in, so now they're getting kicked out of the ocean. All they gotta do is eat a little bit more food, that's it. Hundreds of these little guys, 3 to 6 times a year, will just get blown out of the water. What a horrible way to go. That's like us being blown into the sea slowly. I'd be like, help, please? They're blue and beautiful and only about 8 centimeters long. And back in 2014, thousands of these Velella jellyfish washed along the shore along the northwest side of the United States. They look not as great when they're on shore and dead. They look like gross deflated balloons. And again, 3 years later, thousands more wash ashore again. Little haunting. They're also referred to as by-the-wind sailors because they have a little sail that pokes above the water, kind of like a shark. They have a little sail. And their tentacles will hang underneath the surface, so they'll literally go wherever the wind blows them. How cute is that? They have a little sailor hat. Yeah, we had to finish on a nice cute note. Little fish with sailor hats. That's a little better than whatever the fish that was earlier. Yuck. Number 10. The Wolverine fish. Hugh Jackman, if you're watching this, I love you. Also, this one's for you, pal. Let's do it. This year alone, there have been over 200 discoveries of freshwater fish. 200 more reasons why I'm not swimming in fresh water. Here we go. One of which is the X-Men inspired fish, the Hopliancestrus wolverine. Yeah, these fish have strong lateral curved spikes called odontodes tucked under their gills, and they can extend and jab their prey with these prongs, these 3 prongs, hence the name Wolverine fish. It's kind of cute, I don't know. I like the claws, which is terrifying for sure, but they're tiny claws, right? Just swimming around, Julius Caesaring people in the water. Number 9, the frilled shark. Okay, back in 2004, marine biologists discovered this dinosaur, I guess, the frilled shark. Let's talk about him. Lurking about 870 meters below the surface, this guy looks like an eel at first, and then you get closer and it's not, it's even scarier. Frilled sharks can grow up to 7 feet long, which is like, a foot taller than this lanky shark here, and they can fight like Daredevil. They can hunt in complete darkness. They don't need to see anything to mess you up. Unless you're skinny dipping, you don't need to worry about the frilled shark. He's not really buzzing around anywhere, thankfully. Frilled sharks are only found a mile below the surface. Have you ever dealt with one of these? Are you a diver? Have you seen a shark in person? I saw a shark once, but it was a nurse shark. Also, it was one of those aquarium things where you can go in. I don't know. I was terrified. Number 8, the walking worm. Nice. I had the same nickname in high school. Let's talk about them. Meet the Hallucigenia fortis, named by Simon Conway Morris in 1979. Now, Conway Morris named it Hallucigenia fortis because of its bizarre and dreamlike quality. Isn't that dreamlike and nice and lovely? No, it's more bizarre. There were over 109 specimens of these strange aquatic creatures found, and they range in size from ½ centimeter to 3 centimeters long. Not too large, but still terrifying nonetheless. And since it was an invertebrate, it lacked a spine. Also, just like me, I'm like Gumby, you know, this, I don't know what this is. Oh, hear that crack? Defining features of the walking worm, as its name suggests, were these tentacles that protruded out from the body, which it would use to walk around. It had spikes that it maybe walked on. How terrifying is that? In 2015, scientists realized where its real head was. Yeah, we thought a fossilized stain was its head for like 35 years, and then in 2015 we found its real head. And it looks like it's grinning, and it has 2 eyes, so dare I say worse than the stain observation. Number 7, the ruling squid. For ages now, sailors from Norway and Greenland have shared tales of a giant sea monster. Now, with tentacles big enough to pluck you out of your boat. Doesn't this sound a little familiar? In 1857, Danish naturalist Johannes Steenstrup found a large squid beak, and soon after, he was sent parts of another specimen from the Bahamas. So he got all these gross fishy parts, just a nice stinky table of work, and then he thought to himself, could this be the kraken? These parts were a part of a species called a giant squid. It's called Architeuthis dux, yeah, which translates to ruling squid in Latin, which is terrifying. The ruling squid. Okay, you got it. You rule the ocean, therefore I'm not going in it. Very little is known about giant ruling squid, of course, because they're so hard to track down, but we did get a photo of one back in 2005 and a video of one in 2013. Both are equally as terrifying. Check them out. Eyewitness reports from sailors also describe a 60-foot squid, so those reports don't sound as crazy after you see this, right? That's also totally an alien, like 1000%. We can just nip that in the bud. Number 6, magnificent alien. While the rest of the world was in panic mode, a new sea sponge was discovered in 2020. How fun and cute is that? Again, we're gonna poke around and touch him and then it's gonna go extinct, so enjoy him while it lasts. He was named Adviena magnifica, which translates to magnificent alien. The sponge literally gets its name because it looks like ET. How amazing is that? And to be fair, it does look like ET. An ROV found this sample over 6,000 feet deep in the Pacific Ocean. They found it in what they call a forest of weird, which is an excellent nickname given what has emerged from it. Just an alien sponge sticking their ET head out for some food. That's all we're looking at here. Christiana Costello Branco, the researcher who found this deep sea squishy, explains the discovery in an NOAA interview, saying that as all of these organisms are intricately connected, by documenting and describing marine biodiversity, we are building a better understanding of life and the impact of humans on Earth. In this case, in the ocean. End quote. Yeah, that sounds like some Martian type stuff. I don't know how I feel about that. It's like, hey, we have no idea what's down below. Shall we continue searching? I'm like, no, we shouldn't. We should stop searching. This little guy is the key to humanity's survival. I feel it. I don't know. He's calling me. Number 5, the rare whalefish. Located in California's Monterey Bay, scientists were able to get a close look at the fish with no eyes. Yeah, so we probably had no idea any of this was happening. Everyone's like, also, it's pretty unfair just to film him without his consent. He has no idea. This little guy relies on his other senses to hunt, obviously, and pick up its surroundings. This footage was from over 6,000 feet deep, so the lack of light just decided that the whalefish doesn't need eyes. Yeah, nature and history was like, you know what? Well, you don't need them, so we're just gonna take those back. It's like, what? Give them the choice, just in case. Let them look at a movie or a cool coral. It's great to get footage of them because whalefish are rarely recorded in the deep, let alone recorded alive. Number 4, the smooth-hand fish. Not to be confused with Cool Hand Luke, although that's also a pretty good time. The smooth-hand fish was the first time in modern history where a marine-type fish has gone extinct. Yeah, this fish was a shallow water bottom dweller, and I personally love him because he looks like a Bowser minion. Except I don't want to stomp on his head like Mario does, you know? I just want to keep him. He looks like he's in a bad mood all the time. I don't know, he looks like something's on his mind. He has a horn that protrudes out of his face, so I don't blame him, to be honest. Just 200 years ago, you would have seen these smooth dudes in the land down under in Australia. It lived in Tasmania's warm waters, and what made this fish so unique, as its name hints towards, is its little smooth hands. The smooth hand fish would seemingly walk with those hands along the ocean floor, using its fins as hands. So an angry looking fish with hands and a horn would walk towards you. Hard pass, never swimming again. Graham Edgar, marine ecologist at the University of Tasmania, sheds some light on its habits, explaining that these fish were homebodies. They didn't have a large habitat. They spent most of their time sitting in the seabed with an occasional flap just for a few meters if they're disturbed. And at that point, they would just walk away with their hands from the drama, but because humans got involved, we don't see these guys as much anymore. Number 3, Chinese paddlefish. The Chinese paddlefish was one of the largest primary freshwater fish in the world, commonly measuring around 3 meters or, 10 feet long. These fish were native to the Yangtze and Yellow River basins in China. It was one of just 2 of the paddlefish family. Now, since the 1990s, this fish has been listed on the critically endangered list, with the 2 main culprits, of course, being us humans, overfishing, and habitat fragmentation. Now, unfortunately, in December 2019, because of several surveys that failed to locate any presence of these species, it has since been declared extinct. Yeah, there's a little bit of hope that I'll leave, but so far we can't find any of these. I hope somewhere there's a colony of these little paddlefish hiding somewhere and we just can't find them, Keep hiding. Don't let us find you. We'll just fuck it up again. Don't let us reel you in or catch you. Sadly, it's believed that this fish went extinct somewhere between 2005 and 2010, but he's pretty cool looking, so we'll always remember him. Number 2, the snapping shrimp. Okay, this is terrifying. These things are tiny and yeah, never again. This little guy can literally create a sonic boom as it attacks you. That's how fast it is underwater. You will not see it coming, and neither did this explorer. Here's a clip of a mantis shrimp punching through a diver's swimming gear. Yeah, right through their water shoes. Just like that, easy.
Ow, that really hurt.
Isn't that insane? They're often found in coral reefs, oyster reefs, and these little guys, these pistol shrimp, they hit their prey at 100 kilometers an hour, and in doing so, a large air bubble is created, and because this Mike Tyson shrimp is so quick with the jab, the following pop is around 200 decibels. So the sound alone from the attack stuns their prey. Or if they're lucky, it'll sometimes just kill them, which is honestly how I'd want to go. I wouldn't want to get punched by one of these things. Imagine one of these the same size as you. That's literally Mike Tyson, actually, now that I think about it. And finally, number 1, the electric eel. Great song, not a great animal. You don't want to poke around these guys. Awesome, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. Let's talk about them. The moray eel. First of all, don't do that. Don't go up to a random eel and start rubbing it like it's a genie lamp. That's not ideal. That was the moray eel. That one can bite your fingers off. But you should never touch an eel in the first place because a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, are electric. Yeah, as its name suggests, these type of eels can mess you up even if you were to get the first hit, even if you bopped it yourself. Specifically, the newly discovered 2.5 meter Electrophorus volti, appropriately named after Alessandro Volta, aka the guy who invented the battery. Yeah, it's named after the guy who invented the battery. This is an animal swimming around underneath us. It can release a shock of up to 860 volts. That's more than 7 times the voltage of a wall plug. Things powering all of these units. A swimming wall plug that gets hungry. Sick. We love nature. Isn't nature lovely? Awesome.
10 with the giant shrimp. Imagine swimming in the water with this. This 18-inch shrimp was caught off the coast of Florida, and experts believe that it is the infamous mantis shrimp with that powerful claws that are capable of breaking aquarium glass. Apparently their claws can move at speeds of 50 miles an hour. Swimming up this list, in at number 9 we have Wells catfish. These fish are known to inhabit the Berlin Lake, Spain's reservoirs, and Russia's Volga River. The Wells catfish is a huge slithering creature that can reach over 13 feet in length and weighs over 400 pounds. They're aggressive predators and they capture victims with their massive razor-sharp teeth. Now on this list, at number 8 is the frilled shark. This 6-foot sea monster with 300 teeth was caught in Australia. This is an extremely rare species and it is referred to as the living fossil because it has ancestors dating back 80 million years ago. The frilled shark is pretty horrific looking and I don't know what to do if I caught this thing. Like, if I catch it, I'm just not gonna reel it up in the boat. I think it's time to call it a loss and just have your fishing rod just fall in the water and call it a day. Alligator gar makes its way into number 7. This species is like a hybrid of like an alligator, a fish, and a freaking dinosaur. The alligator gar is the largest freshwater fish in America and it has 2 rows of razor sharp teeth. This particular alligator gar measures 8 feet 5 inches long, weighing in at 327 pounds. This fisherman used nets to catch the fish and then proceeded to grab it by the gills and then it pulled it into the boat. Me, I would pull it out of the boat and just try to motor it away. I don't know. I would catch half of these things these people are catching. If I saw that by net, I would like scream like a girl and then cry and then I don't know, I would just be freaking out. I mean, these things should not be in the water. Number 6 brings us to the wolfish. A Japanese fisherman reeled this hideous looking beast near the coast of Russia. This fish has been identified as one of the largest wolfish ever recorded. The head of this this fish makes up a fifth of their body, and the mouth is large enough to fit a child inside. Not that this fish eats children, but I thought I'd throw that one in there. Thankfully though, the wolfish only eats crabs and mollusks. Megamouth shark makes its way into number 5. This one doesn't sound good. Some fishermen in Japan got a really big surprise when they caught this frightening megamouth shark. Now this is an extremely rare creature, weighing in around 1 ton and measuring at 5 meters in length. There are less than 60 confirmed sightings since the megamouth shark was discovered in 1976. Apparently they swim with their mouth open, so I definitely wouldn't want to encounter one of these sharks in case they accidentally just swallow me while they're swimming. Terrorizing its way into number 4 is the sawfish. This endangered sawfish was captured off the Gulf Coast of Florida, and it was reeled into the shore because it was too large for the fishermen to reel it in. This species can grow up to 18 feet long, and it weighs a staggering 700 pounds. I mean, damn. I don't think I'd want to swim anywhere near this thing or anywhere near any of these creatures on this list. Next up, at number 3, we're talking about the Goblin shark. Another freaking shark. Some fishermen in the Gulf of Mexico caught the incredible rare Goblin shark. I'm not sure why people are going out fishing and they're catching sharks. This 18-foot long pink predator was captured in a shrimp net, and the fisherman was absolutely shocked when they saw this prehistoric looking shark. Apparently this creepy creature uses electrical sensors on its snout to, find prey when it cannot hear or see it. So it's almost like echolocation. Luckily though, the Goblin shark normally dwells in the deepest parts of the ocean, so I guess there's not much to fear, but that's it's mostly down there, but sometimes, yeah, it could be in the surface, who knows. Goliath tigerfish makes its way into this list at number 2. This species is infamously known as being one of the most dangerous freshwater fish in the world. The Goliath tigerfish can be found in Lake Tanganyika and the Congo River in Africa. Well, for one fisherman, he was able to catch the 100-pound Goliath tigerfish by using a catfish as bait. I mean, what? And also the fisherman had to use a 200-pound rod and line. This ferocious fish has 32 razor-sharp teeth and has been known for attacking humans and even crocodiles. Finally, at number 1, we have the goonch fish. I don't know, every time I say this word, it just makes me laugh. It sounds like something inappropriate. This 161-pound goonch catfish was caught in the river in northern India. This gigantic sized fish measured in at 5 feet 7 inches from head to tail and 41 inches around. Apparently this species of catfish has been known to fatally attack humans, and they are considered to be a man-eating animal.
Create a video using exactly this script. Want to see more videos like this one? Check out this video next. It's about rare archaeological finds that could, believe it or not, rewrite history. Click the video now to find out more.